Okay, so this is like the fourth or fifth time I've filmed this video, and each time I filmed it, I have not liked it. So I'm trying this again. This video is going to be my opinion of the Broom Closet. Now, I know in the pagan online community at least, when I first started watching YouTube videos, being active in YouTube, and kind of being active with my practice back in like 2009, 2010, a lot of people were really big on this coming out process of whatever you were coming out of. Like, I remember I made back then a video about the It Gets Better story, how I told my story about how I came out of like the sexual closet and all of that fun stuff, and my story behind that, and I may tell that story again later on, but not this video. It's not what this video is about. And I was lucky enough to have a family and friends around me who supported my decision to come out and to be more vocal about the way I felt that wasn't necessarily normal, for lack of a better word. I hate that word so much, but normal, for lack of a better word, heteronormative, straight white Christian, I don't know, something like that. And I was lucky enough to have that. Granted, it was still kind of met occasionally with, hesitation amongst family members, to acknowledge that I was, something that wasn't straight or Christian. I'm white, obviously, but it wasn't necessarily bad. It was negative, but it wasn't necessarily bad. I had one relative that kind of freaked out, and I'll tell the story because this relates. The day or so after I told my mom that I think at that time I said Wiccan. And my mom and I had the conversation about if I believed in a God. That's like the one thing she cared about. She didn't care about anything else. That was the thing she talked about, was like, do you believe in a God? And I'm like, yeah, I still believe in a God. I just don't believe in God the same way you do. And she was perfectly fine with that. And like a day or so later, I put on Facebook that my religious affiliation was like Wiccan or whatever. And I should have seen this coming. My really religious aunt, who is like the biggest Baptist in the history of the world. Her favorite holiday is Halloween, but she's like the biggest Baptist in the history of the planet. Decided to have a 3-hour conversation with me about how I was going to hell and how I was wrong and how Satan was influencing me and how I didn't understand that this was a form of modern day witchcraft. I understood that. And she was like, but that's evil and blah, blah, blah. She's also one of the people who believe watching Harry Potter or talking about Harry Potter will send you to hell. And yet her favorite holiday is Halloween. I don't get that. If someone out there can figure that out for me and tell me, please do, because I have not been able to figure it out to this day. I make jokes about it all the time because I don't understand. And instead of being hateful or being mean towards something I understand, I make jokes about it because I don't understand. I'm like, I don't understand why I don't know this, because I should, because it feels like it should be obvious, but it's not. So, if any of you know why her favorite holiday is Halloween, and yet she's like the biggest Baptist in the history of the world, please let me know. I'd be glad to know. For 26 years, I can't figure this out, so please tell me. Okay, I'm going to say this. We're going to go back to me coming out when I was still in high school, when I was a late teenager. I was like 17, 18 years old when I came out, when I decided to tell my mom. Like I said, I had a good support system. I knew that my ideas and my feelings would be received well, or she would just not really think anything of it because everything I do is a phase. Well, now she's not really saying that anymore, but most of when I was growing up, everything I did was a phase. It was just, she just didn't take me seriously, which was like the biggest complaint I had about, coming out as a Wiccan or pagan. Like I said, I think it was Wiccan back then. But if you, and I do not recommend this at all to anybody, if you're living in your parents' household, regardless if you're a minor or not, but especially if you're a minor, I would not recommend coming out to your parents because you are still under the age of 18, and I don't know how your parents are going to take it. Like, I know Silver Ravenwolf in her book, especially in Teen Witch, she talks about trying to breach that door with your parents, trying to talk to them about it. I don't recommend you doing it at all unless you are reading something and they ask you in a conversational way and they breach it first. Like, if you had the mother I had, it was fairly easy for me to come out. I just had to wait till I felt it was time for me to come out of the broom closet. And it wasn't really that hard. Like I said, all she did was ask me if I believed in a God, and my answer was, yeah, just not the way you do, type of thing. But if you're living in, especially if you're living in a household, and even if you're not living in this type of household, if your parents are really hardcore Christian, or they're really born again, evangelical, however you want to phrase it, or even if they're not, they could react with saying, no, you can't do this in my house. You can't practice. You can't have an altar. You can't even read a book. Like, they could even, like, monitor what you watch on YouTube. And that was halfway kind of the fear I had when coming out to my mom, was, is she going to monitor my YouTube habits? Because I wanted to be able to watch the videos I watched on YouTube without my mom leaning over my shoulder asking me, what's that, what's that, what's that, what's that? Because that was my mom. She was the what mom? What is that? What is that? Like, she was so involved. Sometimes I wish she would have been less involved. But in the end, it turned out really nice, because we have a fairly decent relationship now that a lot of people don't really have with their moms. And still having, and if you come out before you live out of your parents' house, before they recognize you as a grown-up, you could lessen your relationship with your parents, and that's something that you do not want to do. Because later on in life, you will regret it. And they could kick you out when you're like 16. You say, Mom, Dad, I'm a pagan. They could say, pack up your shit and leave. They could do that. I've never heard of anyone specifically doing that. I've heard that at least with being pagan, I've heard of it happening in the gay community. If people come out and say, I'm Mom, Dad, I'm a lesbian, or Mom, Dad, I'm gay, their parents disown them and they kick them out and they have nowhere to go. And that's, well, first off, in like the book of Timothy, you shouldn't do that as a parent, because it's against what God wants. But we're not going to get into that. But it's not worth your physical safety. But anyway, like I said, with physical safety, if it is physically unsafe for you to come out of the broom closet, regardless, even if you don't live at home, even if you're like me and you're living with a partner and your partner's okay with it, but like you live in like a really small rural town and not a lot of people around you will be really open or accepting to you being pagan, it's not a good idea for you to be open about it. Like, I live in a small town right now, but I don't practice outside because I know people will look at me weird, because a lot of the stuff I do would be like, what are you doing? Like, what is that? Because, like, everyone's lived around here, everyone knows everybody, and everyone knows everybody else's business. And that would be business they didn't know, and then they would want to know it. And I don't want them knowing my business. Like, I don't want them knowing it. Like, I'm okay with expressing what I express on YouTube because I want you to know that part of my business. But I'm not going to tell you everything because I don't want you to know my business. I don't want to know your business. I don't want you to know mine. We've kind of got this little wall thing we can do. I think Mandy was talking about how it's like this, with like doors opening, and she like did like hand motions like this with stuff, and it's kind of cute. But anyway, I just I'm not really that open about it, even though I'm pretty sure people around here would be a little more receptive than I feel they would be, because I just don't want that. I want to have that barrier between me and other people that, like, I don't want you to know. I don't want you to know this part. But, like, at work, I pretty much always wear, like, this hat a lot of times, and I wear some type of, like, religious jewelry. Today I have on this small little, like, pentacle necklace, and I just started wearing my pentacle ring again, and the, like, 3 people I work with, they all know that I'm pagan. My manager for right now is, she considers herself Wiccan. The boy that I work with, he used to be a practitioner, and now he's kind of like, just kind of whatever. And one of the other girl I work with, she's like, it's there, it's a thing. I don't really pay attention to it that much, kind of like my girlfriend. She's like, I don't really do religion. It's not really my shtick, and that's fine. But I know in a lot of places that's not safe for people to have that. Like, you can't even have that. And it's really unfortunate that a lot of people can't have that. But if it's going to physically harm you in some way, to be out of the broom closet, to be identified as a pagan, you need to stay in there for your own safety. It's not worth it. It's fantastic being able to be out and be open, but if you're afraid that you're going to lose your job, you're going to lose your apartment, you're going to lose your kids if you're in a tight custody battle and you live in a really religious area, and everyone around you is evangelical Christian, and your soon-to-be ex-partner is, and that's the thing that they would use against you in a custody battle, it's not worth it. It's not worth losing all of those things. It's not worth it. It's really not. Like, it's great, and I love it, but the benefits don't outweigh the cost. I know, like, in some parts of the world today that people are still murdered for being witches or suspected of witchcraft, and it's really sad, because I remember at one point, it was early on in my YouTube days, or even in my pagan days, where I was watching Egyptian's videos, or Egyptian was in a video where she was talking about how she had a friend who lived in America and lived in the Bible Belt, and that immediately set off bells in my mind, because I live in America and I live at like the very top of the Bible Belt, or at least Missouri's kind of halfway in, halfway out of the Bible Belt. But anyway, I get what she was meaning. And apparently the mom and the oldest child were Wiccan, and they went out and they left the youngest with a babysitter, and people in the town apparently like burned down their house with like the small baby inside of it. I was like, whoa, dude, whoa, who does that? Who does that? This baby probably can't even, I don't even know if this baby can walk yet, this baby can talk yet, this baby has no clue of what you're doing. You're just murdering an innocent child because like why? Like, why would you do that? Like, I can't even form, like, coherent sentences, or, like, sentences that really make sense and make me sound intelligent of that, because I really don't understand that. And that would be a situation where it would not be worth it being out of the broom closet if, you know, you're going to put yours, or, in that case, some other member of your family's life in danger because you want to be open about your religion. So, in coming out of the broom closet, in final words about coming out of the broom closet, it's really a case-by-case basis. If you feel that it is okay for you to come out of the broom closet, then by all means do. As long as you know you're of age, you're over 18, you are legally an adult in case certain situations do arise. If it is, like I said, if it's physically safe for you to come out of the broom closet, feel free to come out. If you're under the age of 18, I would really recommend not doing so openly, or even at all. Because I know in certain families, even if you didn't necessarily come out as being Wiccan or being pagan, but you still said you kind of like revered nature and you wanted to recycle and you wanted to do all that stuff, some families would even react negatively to that. Like, I've had relationships in the past where I've said things like that, and their family members it was their primary family members kind of looked at me like I was crazy, and like I was like, oh, like, you're so stupid, and blah, 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 and it hurt. Like, I could have left. I didn't. I chose to stay, and I tried to educate them, and it didn't work because, you know, some people just can't be educated. They just can't, or they just won't. But, anyway, so that's my take on the broom closet, and I'm not sure how long this video is going to be because I recorded it in several parts because I kept messing up. And I've pretty much followed the script that, you know, I wanted to have done for this video, so that's exciting. But anyway, I will talk to you guys later, and I hope you are having a great afternoon, and blessed be, and goodbye.